Hello guys, this is Chitrank Dixit and today we will move on to our second video on web development with Python Flask. In the previous video, we installed and configured our system for Python Flask development. So in the previous video, I explained what Python Flask is and how we can use it. So this is the official site of Python Flask. So you can see how it works. Now in this video we will be introducing some good practices so that you can maintain your application for decades. So the very first practice is to use a good editor. So let me move to our application. Where was application was? This is our application. So this is our application and this is our virtual environment that we made in the previous video. So always use a good editor. I'm using Python Flask for my development, and Python Flask is being edited an editor named Sublime Text. So this is a super awesome editor with lots of features. So suppose you can break the screen into two, and 3 and 4 and 5 and so on. You can also comment with a simple button. So suppose I write something over here, just write anything and just select this full text and Control Shift question mark, it would comment out. So these are some good features of this Sublime Text. So I recommend using this. Now the second best thing to do is to know the version control. So if you are not knowing what is Git, you can have a look at my Git introduction to Git tutorials in the link below, and you need to make your account on source control hosting websites, just like I have my account on GitHub. You can also have your account on bitbucket.org, and there are many more source control hosting websites. GitHub is the best one, so I just made my account on GitHub, and as you can see, these are my repositories. Some of the repositories are being forked, means copied, and some of the repositories are my own. So as we are moving with our Flask development, we just need to make our first repository. So just make a folder named, I'm making my folder name Chitrank Flask. You can name as per your use, and I just cut this. So this is my virtual environment and very first Flask application. So I have this in my Chitrank Flask folder. So at my GitHub, I'll just make a new repository over here and just name it just do as per instructed and create the repository. So it is creating the repository. After it has created a instruction manual for us. So this is the repository with nothing, means it's an empty repository on GitHub. So what we need to do is to move to documents, and then Flask test, and here I have folder name Chitrank-Flask. So we need to run all these commands into this current location under the folder Chitrank-Flask. So I do not want a readme file because I already have two files, and readme is an instruction file. So if you wish to, you can make it. So I'm just making the readme file. Chitrank Dixit sample task site. Just save it and come out of it. Now as you can see, a readme.md has been made. Now we initialize our Git repositories by using this command. Let me make it a bit bigger so that you can view this. Git init. Git init and hit enter. Now it has initialized an empty Git repository into our current folder Chitrank-Flask. Now just add all the files because we need to upload all these files to GitHub. So just git add and use regular expression either star or dot. Star is for all the files present in the current directory, and dot is to include the files in the current directory. So just use any of them. I'm using this one, and it has added all the files. Just you can check the status, how many files are being added by Git. So just hit enter, git status, and as you can see, these all files are being added into our change set. Now after using the git add command, just use git commit and give a message initialize our first Flask website. Hit enter. Now it has created a mode. After this, we need to give the remote link. So we use the command git remote add origin, and the origin is this one. Paste it. So what this command does is it add the remote host. So we are on our local machine and we want to upload our data, our source code, to a site named GitHub. On GitHub I have a username named Chitrank-Dixit and the repository name Chitrank-Flask. So the origin will be this link. So I'm adding the remote origin as this one, and just hit enter. It has added the remote origin. Now I just need to use git push -u origin master. So I'm pushing my whole change set, all these files, to this link of GitHub at the origin, as I have defined the origin in the previous command, and in the master master branch. So by default Git makes master branch. As we'll proceed further, I'll let you know what are Git branches, but for now, to make it more simple, just use this command git push -u origin and master. Hit enter. will ask for the username and password. Here you need to enter your GitHub username and here the password. Hit enter. It's writing the objects. Now as you can see, I have uploaded all of my source code to the repository named Chitrank-Flask. Now just refresh this page and as you can see, our source code online. So this is the content of our readme.md file. This is the content of our flask-app file. This is our Flask virtual environment and so on. You can also see commits. So this is our first change, and what I change in this, what I have changed in this, you can see. So I just added the following files, and this is the source code. I have not deleted any lines, I just added them. Backward, and this is our repository. Now after hosting our project to GitHub, we also need to make sure that we should follow a proper structure of our web application. So it should be like a folder named app, db store the database scripts, tmp to store the temporary files, readme.md to give a proper message of what this source code is all about, run.py is the initializer. So we need to make 3 folders. First is the app, where we'll store all our templates and views and models of our Flask applications, and in the second folder named db store will store or put our database scripts that would generate a database for us, and in the temporary folder we'll use to keep some of the temporary stuff that we do not need permanently, but we just want them temporarily. So this should be our Flask application structure. So let's make this a structure. So this is our virtual environment. Do not touch this. Just make a new folder named store app I'm renaming this as run.py. So currently I have no models and views in my Flask application, so I just make it simple and have this run.py. So in my run.py I have defined the routes for my Flask application. So after performing all this stuff, let's try to run our Flask app. Flask virtual bin activate. So I have activated my virtual environment. Now what I need to do is to simply run it, python run.py, hit enter, and my Flask application is live at this local IP. Yes, it is working. So this is the default route slash, and it says yes, it's working. Let's check the next route. Oh yes, it is next. So it works fine. Now after doing all the changes, what I need to do is to push these changes to my Git repository to keep my local system and the remote system both updated. So just type the command git add dot start ticket start get status. So as you can see the status of our Git. So what I did, I added a new file named run.py and deleted flask_app. Add app ab store tmp. So my folder has also been added into our change set. Now use git commit -m to structure our first Flask site. Hit enter and the commit has been made. Now just we do not need to use git remote again and again. We just need to use the git remote command once. Now we will use directly git push your origin master. Hit enter. Ask for password. You can also use username and password caching for GitHub so that it won't ask you username and password again and again. So I have used that GitHub username and password caching, so it has not asked me username and password the second time. And it has pushed all the changes to our remote site. So I can see my changes by reloading the page, and here are the changes. So as you can see, the empty folders has not been uploaded. So what we will do, we'll just make some files into these folders. So just save it as just need to make one another commit. Just use git add star status. So these 3 empty files will be uploaded to our GitHub. And it has done the work. So when I reload the page, I can see my directories over here. So this comes with a different message: initialize the empty directories. So here I can watch my tracking. So at the very first time I initialized my Flask website, I structured my Flask website, I initialized and added the empty directories. So this is how our Flask web application structure goes. So in the next video we'll be looking at model views and controllers and making a proper applications in Python Flask. So thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel and watch out for my next video on Python's model view and controller. Thank you.